All right. So, one of the major things that led me to be the kind of entertainer that I am, and this goes way, 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 way back. You asked me earlier what were role models that inspired me to make this kind of a content. One of my first real role models besides Mr. Rogers, which I heavily lean on, what would what would Mr. Rogers say in this situation when I come across situations where I need to give advice? Or, after what would Jesus do? Because Jesus is first, and then Mr. Rogers helps refine that a little more because I do believe the kind of logic that led Paul to say, imitate me, for I imitate Christ. And I do believe that to apply to Mr. Rogers as well, because Lord knows the guy was so calm and caring that even I would say he was probably one of the better witnesses and servants of Jesus that we've seen in the last 100 years or so. But another man that I closely modeled, especially early on, my YouTube behavior on was Robin Williams. And while, yes, his end was tragic, and there was very little anyone could do to help him because um, if you don't know the full story, yes, he killed himself, but the reason why was because he had this really rare dementia called Lewy body dementia. And if you've never heard of it, it basically makes you lose yourself, but it's worse than other kinds of dementia, but because it also to a point also affects you physiologically. So it's really a very very horrible disease. Um, it basically it affects your thinking, your movement, your behavior, and your mood. Um, it's caused by abnormal clumps of protein that they call Lewy bodies that accumulate in the brain and um, that basically completely block a lot of your brain's functions. It, like all dementia, it changes your cognitive abilities, attention, multitasking, planning, organizing, remembering. But then it also causes hallucinations, um, tremors, shuffling walk, balance problems, loss of coordination, stop posture. It disturbs your sleep, and it can even cause things like sleepwalking and other things. And so, yes, he was. It was definitely sad to see him um, go the way he did. But the thing is, I sympathize with the man because he was hurting well before he was hurting. He was in pain long before he got dementia. He suffered with a lot of mental pain and mental trauma that I'm sure he hopefully at some point he did see a therapist for. But there is truth to the statement: the body keeps the score, and there is truth to the statement that the people who smile the brightest are those that have been through the worst. And I modeled a lot of my early YouTube career and YouTube behavior on Robin Williams because I very much admired and sympathized and even empathized with the man. Because, like him, I went through a lot of pain and trauma. Like him, I smiled away the pain. I made other people laugh so that I could feel better, so that I could focus on someone other than myself. Because when you focus on helping other people, you don't tend to remember that you're hurting. You don't tend to remember that you're hurting when you're helping. And so it's and that can be good and that can be bad. There are people that have surely helped other people so much that they end up neglecting themselves. That is a very real thing. That is a very real problem in our society where we don't really recognize a lot of people struggle until it's too late. Sending hug. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm much better now than I was. I'm much better now than I have been. So I really do appreciate all the support and love that I've been given over the years through my church, through the family that I have, through the friendships that I've made, through the connections I have through recovery. You know, there are plenty of people out there that are less blessed than I am as far as, having so many things happen that they don't understand and can't process and just, you know, I think of it this way. I am blessed to have gone through what I went through because I did go through it. I didn't stay and I didn't end up losing my life in there. I got through. I came out of it. Not everyone is blessed to go through. Some people go in and never come out. And so I keep that as a perspective, not only to continue to remind myself of how I've been blessed and how I've been cared for and how I've been loved unconditionally and endlessly by my Heavenly Father and by Jesus Christ, but also to be able to empathize with the person who's still going through it and go, I'm here for you and I'm here to help you. I'm here to be I'm here to be the light of Christ in your life like someone else was for me. Because that's what it is. I was blessed to have people in my life that were willing and able to be the light of God, the light of Christ, through their faithfulness to a man who was so lost he could barely see which way was up. You know, my throat's pretty dry tonight. Also, I'm working on like an hour and a half nap this afternoon. Usually I have anywhere from 3 to 4 hours of a nap. I got to my bed a bit late, so I'm using coffee as a way to keep awake. I do that no matter what date it's been. But I really think that too many times we aren't willing or able to accept help because we don't see that there is a way out. That's how it was for me. You did it. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the just continued encouragement. I really do love you and I appreciate you for what you do for me. You know, just the amount of people that are so encouraging and happy for me is amazing, but also seeing other people get free too. That's the really awesome thing. But until we're able to see that there is a way out, because let's be honest, there are a lot of us that do not see that way out, that cannot see that way out. Because when we're in it, we only know our pain. That's what I've learned. We only know our pain and we only know our present, and so we can't see what lies beyond the pain until someone shows us. And there's the thing, too many. I've had situations where I haven't been able to find the words, and I'm sure other people have had the same struggle. But it's not about finding the words; it's about showing your heart. It's about showing where God's heart is and where God has brought you from. You don't have to be the perfect person. You don't have to be the perfect witness. You know, it goes almost right in line with why people tend not to want to be evangelists or witnesses for Jesus. It's because, oh, well, that's the pastor's job. That's the evangelist's job. That's the witness's job. No, it's our job too. It's our job too. If we're not willing to go out and share the gospel with people, we're not following the greatest commandment. We're following the law of the land that says, "I will just take care of yourself. Just do for you. Don't worry about others." And the Bible doesn't say anything about that. It really doesn't. So, you know, we tend to go, "Oh well, I don't have to help people. That's another person's job. Sure, sure. But don't you want to be blessed by being able to be a blessing to someone else, being a blessing to someone in need? I love helping people, almost to the detriment of myself at times, but I love helping people. Why? Because honestly, the greatest, I want to say this almost delicately, but also just without haughtiness, but with humility. The greatest blessing I have received is to be able to see someone come to Jesus or hear of someone coming to Jesus. Why? Because it helps me to realize that there really is a power in sharing my story. There is a power in sharing my story with those that are in need and those that need hope. Because my story has hope in it. I got through it. I'm living better. I'm making amends. I'm making strides towards Jesus. I'm staying in conscious contact with God every day. And I am loving life so much more than I ever did. You know, there are so many people out there that are so depressed and hateful and bitter and angry about lots of stuff. And I don't blame, I cannot completely blame them because life does suck. And there are things that are hard and there are things that have been painful in their lives. I get it. I do. I understand. And it is so, so hard to get over some of that. There are still things I'm processing from what happened in my life. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not. But at the end of the day, we can only do the next right thing for us, the next right thing for ourselves.